Hello everyone and welcome back to School here in Kerbal Space Program 0.22. Word on the street is that 0.23 is coming out very soon. It may actually have come out already by the time this video goes live. But what we are doing today is we recently managed to unlock one of our first robotic controls. Here we are, the Stay Putnik, and that is going to allow us to shoot some mildly less important to return probes around the moon. So to that end, I have developed a new free return trajectory machine, the R1, which is fairly identical to its original, except it's got a lot more solar panels because this is going to be transmitting, it's basically going to be science spamming around the moon, and it's also got 2 less of these materials base so that we can actually just keep hammering them. And more or less it's identical in that, although it does have a few more lights, which these lights actually show up against the darkness, whether you've got lighting or not. They seem to sort of like constantly lit, which makes it interesting to see this when it's in like pitch black space, because all you can see is the green dots. But let's get right to that. I do have a button for triggering the, I think for triggering all of the science materials, so we can just go into the orbit of the moon and spam it like crazy. So with that in mind, gird your ears, people. Hopefully I've remembered to turn the volume down on that. And we just need to wait for this first solid fuel stage to die, held stable by those winglets there. People don't often think of using the aeroplane parts on rockets, but they do come in handy. They are quite useful. Okay, about halfway. Just about to exit 300, yeah. So we're going to be seeing the mark effects very soon. There we go. And then very soon after them, the re-entry effects. There we go, yep. Just in time for us to run out. Also to run out of small atmosphere. That, I think, is the struts that are on the top breaking. I've seen that happen a few times now, and I think it's the struts on the top breaking. Okay, assume the position, and fire. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, more like that, because we want to be picking up altitude whilst we're leveling it out, because the solid fuel boosters make us go really high up in the sky, and then more or less fall straight down, which makes getting an orbit that much harder. We need to gravity turn. So there we go, flattening out much nicer, and our apoapsis is still picking up. That's good. We want that to be around the 77, 80 kind of mark. Ideally the 80, but it takes a little longer to get there. And I'm still working on getting a launch vehicle that has enough for us to potentially have something land on the moon, or at least go into a polar orbit, but no luck on that as yet, but hopefully mashing the science keys for this particular mission will help us out on that, because the moon is still fairly valuable as far as science goes for us. Okay, there's 80. Let's get you into an orbit. It still looks like it's a little bit wonky. Okay, and about there. 77, 83, we'll take it. Okay, and that's a 50-second burn, which is going to take us into our final stage on this machine. Well, not our final stage is of this upper section coming in for re-entry. Our penultimate stage. Meaning the one before the last, for those who don't know. Love these little ribbons. Okay. Got our suborbital music going there. Okay, so we want to be waiting till about 25 seconds to get this burn on both sides. And that should be fairly soon. I'll just go into second into first spot. Okay, go. And we're going to run out of fuel in this stage fairly quickly doing this. Keep on that dot. Round about now. Yeah, close enough. Off we go. And then we're going to E4 quite happily. Because now we don't have that big bulky rocket on the back. I should really check for how much debris of that is left in, left in orbit. Oh, I imagine since we're on a suborbital trajectory and so very close in here, it's all just going to land right back on the planet. There we go, finagle that to a bit perfect. So 83, 76, good enough. And we still have full science and orbital, nice. Full electric charge, because we've got something like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like 10 solar panels. They're the oxstats, so they don't give out much charge. And you have to point them at the sun, at least somewhat. But we do have all of these batteries, so it helps for if we happen to go to the dark side or something. So now, there is the moon. We need to be at about a 90-degree on our burn. And that's a bit of a problem there. Okay, and let's take this up. I'll shift it around. Oh, looks like we're getting an encounter there. Okay, let's move this about till the orbit comes back. Nope. This is the fiddly part. There we go, that's better. This is the really fiddly part. Okay, comes in that way. Come on, there's gotta be a way to do this. I know there's a way to do this, I've done it before. I think I saw it. There we are. Are we? Come on. Stop being finicky, Moon. There we go. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, unfortunately it just happens to be right over the free return manned returns. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. That gives us about 3 hours of space, 3-4 hours thereabout, to get all of our science. So let's get you pointed in the right way. That is a minute and 13 seconds, which would be about a 38-second burn, which we can do, albeit just because this thing doesn't have much in the way of spare delta V, which is not ideal, but we'll have to deal. But since there's 5 solar panels on both sides, and they also stretch over the back here, there should be basically 2 positions where this will not get sunlight. So it should constantly have sunlight, ideally, which means we should be able to just keep spamming the get science and transmit buttons as much as we can, and eke out as much as we can from at least one portion of the moon. We're probably not going to get a big singular thing for it. But while we're in the space here, let's get this 7.4.4. Let's keep it all, transmit, and we'll see our, yeah, we've got sort of our Rudolph point here, and that's all of that going, and then the science should take up while we're on our en route to the moon again. So yeah, that took about 200 there. Now ideally we'd be doing this from a lander, so that we were always in the place where we could get sun, and we were always in a place where we could get more science, but as it happens, we are a little in trouble for that. I've also got this SAS module. I don't know if that was in the last free return design, but it gives this thing a bit more control over itself. Okay, and I actually think we might be going behind, yeah, we are going to go behind Kerbin for this. So, fortunately, that charge has built up happily. And let's just tick down. 3, 2, 1, into the seconds. And remember, we want about 38. Well, this LBT-45 generates power, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about that. Okay, burning. And let's keep an eye on this, because this is very finicky and very easy to mess up. So let's just keep an eye. Okay, now she's in the realm of going out very quickly. So let's turn the throttle down. And should be approaching it soon. Whoop, nope, we've murdered it a little bit. Okay, come on, a little bit And a little bit more. And a little bit more. Periapsis there is 64. What? I'm not sure what just happened. Oh, we killed it, that's what happened. Come on. Jeez, this thing is finicky. Okay. Periapsis, 86. Killed again, come on, behave. Let's see, if that one's taking it that way, then let's try taking it this way. Periapsis at 93, we'll kill it midway. We'll see if we can manage that. This thing is not going to get any more well-behaved. So, yeah, we're now extra-carbonal. We shouldn't take too much, did it? And, yeah, we still have some fuel. That's about a 2, maybe 3, 4, 5 second burn. I still don't have Cobalt Engineer, so that's probably not going to change anytime soon either. But look at those dots. That is a funky thing to see. And we're also a little bit low on power, but that should tick up quite happily once we get back in. Now, one of the main differences here is that A, there isn't a dude inside, so we don't have to worry about killing someone. You also can't take a crew report. Or of course an EPA or sample report, which is one of the main benefits of getting to getting a guy onto a certain planetoid, because surface samples tend to be fairly science rich. So let's just zoom this forward. It does eat up electric charge slowly over time, which is why you've got the big batteries. And I think we're gonna get some sunshine soon. There we go. Now that is a new intro, a new intro scene if ever I saw one. And that is just us with the R1 en route to the moon. Very pretty. Always nice when you can use in-episode footage to intro a video. But yeah, we've got all of our. I guess we're also sped up, also I can't do this. We've got all of our stuff, so we can do that. And how long do we have to the moon? Quite a ways, so I'm gonna grab some science. Let's see, 25, high radiation environment causes few samples to glow. Looks like it'd be fun to paint the rocket with this, unless you're aware of the radium gauss. And of course we're losing a bunch of the science by virtue of just always transmitting it, which has fairly low values, but we are getting some, so that's something. The redundant sentence, we are getting some, so it's something. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, now thrusting here is going to have no impact on this periapsis, so we need to be over here, moreover. So let's speed up, and we're back up on the electric charge, perfect. And our main bulk of fun is going to be once we hit that intercept. The encounter and the escape. In about 7 hours, so let's speed up a little bit more. Where we are pulled around, figure of 8, by the moon. And it looks like the moon will be behind us. Well, will be between us and the sun for a bit. Kerbal, which I should probably go visit at some point. Oh, there he is. Yeah, that's where he's going to be. Where's he going to be on our escape? I can't tell. There he is. Okay, well, let's get in here. 27 minutes. And we are around the moon. Okay. So there's moon. The moon. Okay, let's get ourselves positioned a bit better for grabbing some sun. And let's start spamming our science. So, material study 6.1. Goo 5.5. Not much. Probably because we're high above the moon at the moment. Okay. All the data done. Just about. Yeah, there we go. And that is our antenna receding. Now let's do that again. 5.2. And then we shall fast forward. So we can get in closer. What is going to be our lowest point? Our slowest point is 376, which is way above an orbit for the moon. Let's zoom above over to it. And yeah, it is going to be between us and the sun for a bit. Okay, let's go around here. Is this going to say anything different? High over the moon still. It isn't much, because we had a lot of trouble getting to a decent orbit for this. But it's something, so let's see. Let me put a marker there for a maneuver, so that I can just see when our periapsis is coming up. And meanwhile, I'll grab some more science, just at regular intervals, so I can maximize the science I'm getting from high over the moon. And then hopefully that'll give us the, I think, more or less 50 science that we need to actually start getting stuff. 0 received from Mystery Goo. Yeah, so the Mystery Goo is now superfluous at high orbit. Okay, 25, 24, 23, 22. We are going to be on the dark side very soon, and that's not going to be conducive to science. So, let's grab some more while we can. Again, not going to be very much, but we'll take it. Okay. Look at all that data uploading. I'm not sure if this takes into account the actual issues of dark side of the moon. Can we get a little bit of science from here? High radiation? Nah, not much. Feels right at home. Discard, because it's all 0. Okay, and let's head back. 0.6 science added from that. And we are now at our periapsis. So this is as low as we're going to get. And unfortunately, I think that's going to be the end of useful science at this altitude. We really need to be a lot closer to the moon to be getting some significant value at the moment. And let's get rid of that. Because now we need to worry about getting this thing back home. Which is not a huge priority. Simply because we have no one to worry about in this, but it would be nice to not have it orbiting the planet. Even if that is a fairly wonky orbit. Let's keep it. Discard. Yeah, so now it has something worth bringing home, slightly. So our next job really is to get this thing, is to get in a much tighter spin around the moon. Or maybe even the landing. I don't think we can survive a landing, but if some solar panels on the antenna survive the landing, then we're okay. But our job now is to get to our apoapsis and bring in our periapsis a bit. With however long that should take. Okay, let's call that. That is in 36 minutes. We should be able to do that. I'm pretty sure we have enough fuel to make 10.8 meters per second to bring us into an aero brake. If not, actually 13,000 meters, 13 kilometers, that is definitely enough to land. Might be a little bit on the steep side of things, but fortunately we're not running deadly re-entry. And okay. Coming into seconds, but that's not quite on the apoapsis. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, 2, 1 seconds. And speed up a little bit so I can get back to the seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Throttle up. Kill. Periapsis, 12,000 meters. Perfect. Okay, so that will bring us back home. So, we are now an extra mooner. So, goodbye moon. And slowly the moon recedes from us. as our Rudolph the Green-Nosed Satellite spins its way away. Okay, and I will flip over to when we get back, and then we can see whatever happens when we actually manage to re-enter. Although, phew, okay, the last time I tried this thing, it actually ran out of power before it got back, but then it only had it had 2 less batteries and substantially fewer solar panels, so we don't need to worry about that. So let me just see if I can get this thing to be facing the sun. No, not a chance. So whatever happens from now, it's going to be extremely expensive. Okay, so let's face our retrograde as we are coming through. We also, unlike as I demonstrated in the last episode, we don't have the radar altitude inside of these Stapotniks, so I have no idea how far it is to the surface. But in comes in our apoapsis. In comes in. I'm just full of redundancy today, aren't I? That's for why I've got the 10 solar panels on this thing, and the 4 different parachutes. Okay, 1 million. Okay, we have lost our we've lost our periapsis. So we are now landing like an absolute comet. Oh god. And we do actually have liquid fuel and oxidizer in here, so this is technically a flying explosive. And we don't have the heat-treated shielding at the bottom of the command module to slow us down much. And at this height, oh god. We're about to hit the heaviest of the atmosphere, and we're not showing many signs of stopping here, are we? Let's see if we can provide ourselves a bit more of a cigar. I don't know exactly how much effect this will have on our speed, but it does seem to be dropping. Generally speaking, if I make this thing out to be more of a point, like a bullet, then it tends to have a lot more speed to it when it's landing. Or trying to, as the case may be. Let's stick that in there, because I might need it very soon. Okay, but we are now subsonic, so that's good. And let's blast that off. Pull out our parachutes, so we can get the drag on those. Oh, that's a nice little view. Okay. So here is our first robotic craft that spun around the moon. A little less impressive than sending a guy around the moon twice. Well, almost twice. But important nonetheless, because we don't have to worry about innocent Kerbal lives, which will look fantastic in the papers when I tell them tomorrow. Okay, we are at an altitude of just under 5,000 here. And I don't have the radar, but I'm going to presume, since we're over the sea, that sea level is what we're going to be going for, so this is accurate. And maybe our goo tanks here will act like some useful degree of ballast, and we'll get some buoyancy over them. Goo jiggles and wobbles, well that's worth 7, so we'll keep it. I imagine this will say the same. Yep. Okay, right, below 3,000. Below 2,000. Let's turn on the lights, so it can look dramatic as it falls. I had these for when it was in space so we could see things better, but didn't turn out to be that useful because of all the dots. And all the abundance of sunlight. And also the slight problem that as long as I leave them on, we're draining charge a lot faster, so I didn't want to do that on the dark side of Kerbin. Okay. Oh, there go the parachutes. So our well-lit robotic craft is now landing. Ain't that look pretty? Okay. 400s. Surface velocity is 3 meters per second, going straight down. 300 soon. There we go. Just accelerate a little teensy bit. Because once again, I'm presuming that this being the sea that will be even, and this will be accurate, rather than the radar altitude, which measures from sea level rather than whatever's below you. But since this is the sea, we shouldn't have to worry about that too much. Okay, under 300, we're in the 200s now. And... this always makes me nervous. Ever since the Komarov episode. Even though Jeb, as it turns out, survived that somehow. Bailing out, using his parachute. Hitherto unknown parachute, but of course the Stay Putnik doesn't have that option, so... another advantage, maybe. Okay, less than 100. At this point I kind of wish I'd put backwards facing lights so I could see how far this thing was away from the surface a bit more. I think there's a lovely spot of tea to calm my nerves. Let's put the SAS back on. Yeah, I think we're a ways from sunrise. Although there's the moon. There's the guy we just came from. Okay. Coming down. 2.9 meters per second. And absolutely nothing fell off. And it's now brightly lit, so we can come and find this thing later. But let's recover that. And see how much science we now have. 84, 12 science earned in the recovery of that alone. Although I'm not quite sure. Data value 0.1, 25 data cadaver, 7 science, 7 science, weirdness. Mystery goo observation while flying at Kubrick, good. Okay, done. So we have 84 science. Is that enough to get us anything, or am I gonna have to send another one of those out? Let's see. Fuel systems, not particularly interesting. Advanced construction, not interesting. What we really need is a big fuel tank or something to help us get into space a bit better. Aerodynamics? We need 6 more to get anything on this line. And after that we need 160. Space exploration? Oh, that gives us a new sensor. And landing? Well, we don't need to worry about landing. I think I will probably end up going with the heavy rocketry, which gives us the Poodle, which has an ISP, which is more or less efficiency rating, of 270 at sea level, 390 in the vacuum, and 220 at max power. Not bad. Doubles as a barbecue at low power. And also gives us another fuel tank, so... I can either get the aerodynamics and massively abuse jet engines to get into orbit, or I can buy heavy rocketry and actually get into orbit the proper way, but we'll find out which I decided on next time. So I'll catch you all then. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and or a favourite, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to be notified of future updates. You can also check out the website where most other content is uploaded. That's all for now, catch you later.